Does any of this sound familiar? Your plate is already full. You get asked to do something, you want to say no, you end up saying yes, and then you regret it afterwards. Or maybe you feel like everybody needs a piece of you. Or maybe you're that positive person that people come to when they need their cup filled. And even though you are feeling depleted, you end up helping them, you put a smile on your dial, and you help them anyway. Well, if any of this resonates with you, you must be feeling absolutely exhausted. You cannot carry on like this. But the great news is that we have come up with a solution. You just need to wait till the end of the video to see what that is. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you on a journey to understand what people pleasing is, what it is, where it comes from, how it is negatively impacting your life, and then we're going to give you the solution. I'm Candice Bester from Grit, and today we need a drum roll. A big milestone, our 20th episode of the Grit Community Series. So what is people pleasing? People pleasing is a pattern of behavior where individuals prioritize others' needs and expectations over their own, often at the expense of their own well-being. They may overcommit or sacrifice their own needs or wants. I have met a lot of people, and you know what? I can count on one hand how many didn't strike me as people pleasers. So 3 or 4 out of hundreds, that from my experience shows me that it's pretty common. So why is it that we people please? Well, it's quite simple really. Our parents did it, our parents' did it, so it's all we've ever known. And if you are probably seeing it as a selfless act. You are seeing it as heroic and noble, and when you see it like that, obviously you're going to keep doing it. Another reason that we keep people pleasing is because if we say no, it feels selfish. And when we say no, it's uncomfortable. And so nobody wants to be selfish, and that's why we don't put ourselves first. It is very uncomfortable to change this habit, and it is hard to form new behaviors. But I am testimony to the fact that your people-pleasing life that you are living right now is much harder than deciding to change and actually doing the work to change. When you start to change and you do the work, things get better very, very quickly. But it is no way to live how you are living right now. I would like to now just choose 3 areas of my life where people-pleasing shows up. I could give you 100. But we don't have time for 100, so just for today, I'll give you 3. So the first one is when I do for others what they could do for themselves. I am inadvertently teaching them to rely on me. I am also giving them the message that they can't do it independently, so I'm disempowering them. The second area that it shows up in, if I do not have the capacity and I'm tired and I'm depleted and somebody needs my help, whoever it is, I will put on a smile and say yes and do it anyway. So what am I doing in that moment is I'm saying they have needs and I have needs, but their needs are actually more important, which I have to tell you couldn't be further from the truth. If I don't see to myself and if I don't prioritize my needs, especially when I'm not okay, I'm not going to have anything to give them. And it's something so simple as, I can't right now, can we chat tomorrow or later or on the weekend? It doesn't have to be a no, it could be a just not now. I don't have the capacity. And then the third area that it shows up, and this is like a huge work in progress, and I've had big wins this week, is when I see my children uncomfortable or when they are struggling or if they have any uncomfortable feelings, it is so hard for me to deal with that I just need to fix it. And like I said, I just want to pat myself on the back because I've come so far. Just this week, I had dropped my son off at school. I had 10 minutes to get back to the office, to get onto a Zoom call, and I was just going to make it. And 5 minutes down the road, he called me to say, Mom, please can you turn around? My jacket is dirty. I need my tracksuit top out of the car. And I stopped, and I took a deep breath, and I looked at the traffic, And I said, my boy, I can't. Well, number one, it was so uncomfortable for me. But number two, I can't believe the stops he pulled out. And that's the thing I've learned about this is when you start to say no, people around you aren't going to like it, but that doesn't mean you stop doing it. So he was like, oh, I'm going to be so uncomfortable. And I was just like, I'm sorry, my boy, I can't come back. When he got home that afternoon, he was like, oh, Mom, it wasn't so bad. I just cleaned my jacket with some toilet paper and water in the bathroom. Like, really? So it is uncomfortable, but that needing to fix is teaching. It's called learned helplessness. Like, they don't sort out problems for themselves if you always are. They don't have to think to pack everything because you'll come rescue them. So you really are teaching them how to be helpless. So it's not working for you, and it's definitely not working for them. And so I'm sure that by now you can see that people pleasing is not working for anybody, and it's definitely not a life to live. Now the solution. This is a 5-step proven process that if you implement this, or if you just start implementing it, your people pleasing is going to get better. Not that you're going to get better at people pleasing. It means it's going to be easier to stop people pleasing. So step 1 is you have to notice the behavior or the feeling. So until you notice it, you can't do anything different. But you will know when you're people pleasing. But it's just about taking a big light and shining on it and saying, okay, so I'm going to be more aware of when I'm people pleasing. And step 1 is noticing it. For me, it shows up in the physical feeling in my body because I feel anxious when I'm people pleasing. So step 2 is when you've noticed the behavior, you need to pause to take a deep breath. Pause and breathe. This is where you're going to choose different behavior. If you don't stop to breathe and pause to breathe, you're probably going to keep doing the same thing. So once you've stopped and breathed, then you're going to go straight on to step 3, which is evaluate. And when I say evaluate, not from your feelings, not what's comfortable, what's logical. And these 3 questions are going to help you. So first question, how am I feeling? If I'm feeling overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, tired, it means that I don't have capacity to help. And so the answer is probably going to be no. But if I'm feeling rejuvenated, I've just woken up, I've had a good night's sleep, and I have a half an hour in between meetings, I'm probably going to take that call and help somebody that was unexpected, and because I have the capacity. Question number 2, is this really something I want to do, or is this something I feel I have to do? So there are things out there that we have to do. But those are things like, I have to go to work, I have to do what my boss says. You don't have to say yes to every birthday invitation because you feel obligated. You don't have to go to the bride just because it's family. So if it's out of obligation, it's probably a good time to reevaluate and go, do I have the capacity? How am I feeling? Is this something I want to do, or is this something I have to do? And you don't have to do those things. And then the last question is, do I have the capacity right now? No, my plate is already full. I have to leave in 10 minutes to fetch kids. I need to get an email off. I have no capacity. So the answer is going to be no. And then step 4, and this is my all-time favorite. Decide and stick to it. Once you've decided, you absolutely have to stick to it, because it's uncomfortable more after you've said no than it is to make the decision. Because you're going to look around you and people around you are going to start sulking, rolling their eyes, be disappointed, and show you how unhappy they are, and they're going to be shocked that you're saying no. So you decide, and you decide with your whole heart, and you do not turn back. And then lastly, step 5 is you have to celebrate the wins. Oh my word, that was so hard, but I did it anyway. Get into bed at night. 3 times today I didn't people please. Next night, 5 times today. Or that was so hard and I did it. And that is how you're going to keep wanting to do it more and more and more. And then lastly, when you choose to change a lifelong behavior, understand that any behavioral change is uncomfortable until it becomes your new norm. Initially, it's going to get harder before it gets easier, because you are more aware of your actions. Before, you probably didn't notice all the times you were people pleasing because it was so habitual. But now you're shining a light on it, and now it's going to get harder before it gets easier. But the great news is that when you do the work, you'll reap the rewards. And it may even feel like you're being tested. In other words, God is going, or the universe, whatever that is, if I decide and I take a firm stand and I say, this is what I'm choosing to do, God goes, okay, let's see. And then he'll bring me an opportunity and another opportunity and another opportunity. But when I pass the test, when I don't people please, when I make the hard decisions, and when I push through those uncomfortable moments, it's as if the result is immediate. And what does that mean? Like, I feel better for it. That's a win, isn't it? And that's immediate. I'm teaching people around me what's really like beneficial for me and them. That's a win immediately, isn't it? But some of them are even more obvious. Like, my child will be having a meltdown. I don't fix it. And 3 seconds later, they're giggling. Not just okay, giggling. So notice the wins and notice the rewards, because that's going to want to make you keep going. Okay? So I hope that something I said today resonated. But more than that, please promise me that you're not just going to listen to this video without taking the actionable steps to change it. From today, what are you going to do differently? Make a stand, write it down, and implement it. Change doesn't come from listening. It comes from doing. And then lastly, please like, subscribe, and share, because I think there's a heap of people that will benefit from this video.